Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 20 of my Forex trading journey. So, just want to go ahead and take a look at some of our trades as we open up the day. We've got a sell opportunity on gold. So, instead of making a new sell opportunity, we're just going to close a buy trade that is in profit as we speak. So, we've gone ahead and we've done that. We've got one buy trade currently running right now. I'm sorry, one sell trade currently running right now on gold. Then as I take a look at silver, no opportunities right there. We look at gold versus euro, no opportunities right there. Now platinum, we can see that we had blown that particular account. Again, we're going to make sure we are very transparent on what we are doing with our accounts, be it demo or real. As we can see, we do not have any balance nor equity in that particular account. So our strategy on platinum does need to be tweaked a little bit. And before we can even do that, and on top of that, we are also going to go ahead and we are also going to be testing out a new pair. So what I'll be doing is coming back into my dashboard for Hugo's Way. We're going to create two new demo accounts. So we'll do that right now. And of course, our MT4 demo will be our selection. We're going to have our account leverage is 500. We're going to have our balance is 100. And we're going to do that one more time to make sure we've got two demo accounts right there. All right, beautiful. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've done that. So I'm going to go back to my email now and let me do this. Okay, beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and use this information right here to log into the account I need to replace. So I'll left click on file, left click on log into trade account. I'm going to take that account number I just copied and put that under login. And then the trader password, I will copy that. And this will go over to this right here. Now click on login. Okay, beautiful. So I am currently in that demo account here. Give me just 1 second to make sure everything is set up correctly. I do not know why that says balance is 0, so give me 1 moment. Okay, let's try this a different way. So what I'll do, in just 1 second, I'm going to go to File. I'm going to open an account. There we go. I'm going to left click on next, left click new demo account. Thing right there is good. We'll put the deposit at 100. I agree to subscribe. Okay, there we go. So we've got the new demo account set up. So I'm just going to delete some of these accounts since we don't necessarily need them anymore. Okay. So I'm going to try then a new strategy on Platinum. We're going to go back to the 5-minute time frame, and we are going to now work on consolidating our exit strategy just a little bit. And I'm going to show you specifically what I mean by that as we look for a new opportunity right there. So again, we're waiting on platinum to give us something. We have gold versus euro right here. We have silver versus USD right here. And we are currently working with gold versus the United States dollar. We can definitely see now that the down arrow has moved over to the next candle. So we're going to be waiting for an opportunity at that particular point in time. As long as the candle closes on the positive, or as long as the candle closes and that downward arrow direction still shows up there within the next 10 minutes, then we will go ahead and get ourselves into another sell trade, and I'll show you specifically how we will go ahead and get that done. So we are waiting on that. In the meantime, I'm going to come back over to Hugo's Way, and we're going to download a new copy, a new terminal, if you will. That way we can work on testing out. So we've been testing gold. We've been testing gold versus euro. We've been testing silver. We've been testing platinum. And I do feel we need to go ahead and test out a new platform. So we are going to go ahead and do just that. And of course, what I'm doing is I'm left clicking on settings, coming here and just putting a parentheses number 4. So it's as if I can go ahead and add a fit terminal on here. Click on next. Then we're going to click on finish. X that out. And then we should have our new platform open up here shortly. And again, I do hope everyone had a beautiful weekend so far. Hope everyone was able to enjoy their weekend after the 48-hour break that we got from the market. But yes, we are back at it and we are ready to go. We are ready to pick up on some more trades, some more trade opportunities. And I am most definitely looking forward to that. So let's do this. So it is going to be a little inconvenient that it's all the way over there. Let's close this away. Let's unpin this taskbar. Let's bring that right there. Okay, perfect. And we'll pin you right there. Okay, awesome. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on next for Hugo's Way Demo 3. I'm going to go to my existing trade account. I'm going to pull up my email because I remember creating 2 demo accounts. So I'll just use the last entry right there in order to log in, because we know for some reason logging into this first account that was created by the first email did not produce a balance, which is a little strange, but that's perfectly all right. We go ahead. Okay, so that also did not give us a demo account balance. So what we'll do instead then is we'll do the exact same thing. We'll go to file. We're going to go to open an account. We'll go to Hugo's Way Demo 3. We're going to go to new demo account. We'll just put 100 right there. I agree. Click on next. And we'll do it that way. So we'll do it just like that. And then I will be right back. Okay, everybody. So we just went ahead and we placed our tools that we need in order to succeed out in the markets for this terminal. So what we're going to do now is we're going to choose a symbol to play around with. And we've done all the metals so far. So we're working on gold versus United States dollar versus gold. We've got gold versus euro. We got the dollar versus silver. And we got the dollar versus platinum that we're still testing on. So now we just need to go ahead and we need to find a new pair in order to play with, so to speak. So just taking a look right here, just taking a look at, what do I want to choose? And I'm going to go with, we're going to do oil. We're going to do US oil. Yeah, we're going to do US oil. Okay, so you're going to put this on the 15-minute time frame. We're going to get the candles going. All right, perfect. We're going to place our tools. All right, beautiful. Okay, perfect. So we've got that going for us. So now we'll wait for opportunities to come in with oil. We'll do right now. We've got platinum. We're going to be working on a new strategy on the 5-minute. We got gold versus euro. We've got silver versus the United States dollar, and we have gold versus the United States dollar, all working together. That candle's about to close in 3 minutes, and we will go ahead and wait for our next opportunity, and we'll move from there. So I do want to go ahead and recap a few things that we need to look out for, because I do believe it's important to at least understand a few of the things that we are going to run into as we continue with this journey. And there'll be a few particular concepts or a few particular things we definitely need or definitely desire to look out for in order to make sure that our account is moving forward in the right direction. Okay, everybody. So as far as what we want to go ahead and what we want to look out for, we want to look out for this right over here. So let me grab my tool right here. Now we already know about the commissions, and that is fixed. That is not going to change. And that is essentially going to equal to half a pip based on the lot size that you're trading. So we know that 0.01 lot size, that's 10 cents per pip. And the commission, half of that particular pip. So a whole pip is 10 cents on that lot size. A half pip would be 5 cents. And that is your commission for each trade that you go ahead and you place. Now, as far as what else we want to go ahead and we want to look out for, we also want to pay attention to this number right here. It is called the swap fees. Now, the swap fees, or let's all write this down. The swap fees are fees. We got about 18 seconds before that count closes. The swap fees are assessed on trades that are open after the hour the market transitions. Oh, the candle just closed. Arrow still there. Move to the other arrow. So we're going to go ahead and close one of our buy trades right here for profit. And we're going to go ahead and still let this trade play out. So we've got 2 sell trades in the mix right now. So fees assessed on trades that are open after the hour the market transitions to the next day. Now for Eastern Standard Time, so for all my New York, for all the East Coasters, that's a 5 p.m. And then Central Time, that's 4 p.m. For Mountain Time, that's 3 p.m. And for Pacific Time, that's 2 p.m. Now, as far as any other time zones that are out there, I don't necessarily have that resource available. So if you would like, I know you can Google search time converter, and you can go ahead and use one of those hours right there and that respective time zone to figure out what that particular hour of the day would be there for you. So I'm going to give everybody just a few seconds to write this down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, perfect. Now, the idea behind the swap fees, that's something that the broker charges. That's not something that, we have any control over, but the broker charges that fee for every trade that is open after that 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time hour. For every trade that lasts after that particular hour in the day. And for us, in the grand scheme of things, that fee normally occurs, or I should say how much that fee is relatively small. It's about less than half a pip on most days. Now, what I've noticed on Wednesday of this week is when that swap fee is normally charged the highest. As far as the rhyme or reason to that, I'm not necessarily sure. And granted, I've only seen it on this particular broker, and the idea is to look at other brokers as well for other different opportunities that do indeed come up. But that is something to at least make sure that you are aware of. And I'm just looking at all of the markets right here looking for trades, but that's something to make sure you're aware of. That way you don't get surprised when Wednesday rolls around. So again, swap fees are more so just something I do want you to pay attention to, and that's assessed every day that the trade is open after 3 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, and 2 p.m. Pacific. Now, another thing that I do want to talk about is the question of, do I get into this trade? For us, we have seen that we have indeed blown a couple of different accounts, and so that is easily going to contribute to the circle of anxiety that we had talked about before. where, do I get into this trade? Do I have the confidence to keep going and taking the trades on the strategies that we have been practicing on if we've already seen a couple of blown accounts? And my answer to that is yes. Now, we don't necessarily lose our confidence if we're looking at a great setup. Granted, we may have to change the strategy a little bit, whether it comes to risk management or whether it comes to where to specifically exit a particular trade that we are currently in. But we certainly don't want to go ahead and just say, okay, I'm not taking any more trades. This path is not for me. Because something that we're going to understand is that this particular strategy, for all the losses that we've taken, and we could choose to focus on those particular losses if we desire. But I also understand that during this journey, we've also seen wins come out of this particular strategy as well. And so if we choose to focus on, okay, we have been winning with this particular strategy, if we choose to focus on the things that were going right by using the strategy, then we can go ahead and that will allow us to make sure that we are indeed protecting that trading confidence, protecting the fact that, yes, we can trade in this Forex market. Yes, we do belong in this Forex market, and no one is going to tell us any different. And again, we think about it, every day has been different so far. There have been great days, there have been okay days, and there have been days that have not been as great as we want it to. And that's going to be a consistent thing as the days bleed over into months and the months bleed over into years and the years bleed over into decades. We want to understand that every day is most certainly different. And that gives us the opportunity to either win more, we take a step back, or we just draw even on the day, and it's as if we didn't find any great trading opportunities. And that's perfectly, and that's absolutely perfect. Again, we're not looking for, this, we don't have a crystal ball in our hands. We aren't able to predict exactly what's going to happen in the market. All we can really do is understand, okay, this is where we're going. This is where the market deems it wants to continue heading. And all we have to do is follow the path that, that we are being led to. And again, we're not the ones that are controlling this market. The retail traders aren't controlling this market. It's more so the central banks, and governments that are helping this market move. And then hedge funds, institutional traders, us, are just following the leader and making sure that we're getting in the right trade and we're going where the winners with the big capital want to go. And with that being said, as you're documenting yourself trading, you want to make sure that you have specific trading goals in mind. Now, trading goals for me are certainly going to be different than those who are looking to trade. First and foremost, whenever I get into a trade, I enter, I first understand, okay, I know I'm getting into this sell trade, for example, because I do understand that there is a immediate downtrend that is taking place within gold. I understand that as far as me entering this trade, now in this particular situation, because we had opened or closed a buy trade that was in profit, I will go ahead and allow this trade to run as much as I can until we are able to see profit on the other side for gold. And then we can go ahead and we can make our adjustments from there as needed. But normally, when I open a new trade, the goal on that is to either help it make 3% of my account balance, I'm able to get 30 pips on a trade, or if the arrow disappears, then we go ahead and we will get ourselves into a hedge trade in order to protect our equity. And again, while that is my own trading strategy, you could certainly take this strategy and make it your own. Maybe you have a much smaller, more conservative risk reward measure, and that's completely perfect. Maybe you have a bigger risk reward plan out there, and that's perfect. Maybe you see something as far as the time frame that you want to get in. Maybe you see something a little bit different where you're not just using just trend and risk management and enter and exit, but perhaps there's another indicator that you're using. And that's perfectly fine. I know that there are a million billion different indicators that are out there. However, I choose not to cover those. We may cover those at a much distant future, but for me, the goal is to make trading simplified. The goal is for me to outline a plan that everyone can go ahead and follow to the simplest of T's. And so all we're doing as we are testing out different strategies, as we are doing the experimentation of win, loss, blow an account, move on to the next day, is that we're developing a winning strategy that works in our favor. If we think about it, because of some of the trials and tribulations that we've already took within these past 19, 20 days, we're ironing out some of the details in our strategy. We're working out on some of the different parts that work, some of the different parts that don't work. And the parts that don't work, we get them out. The parts that do work, we let them stay. And that helps us build a consistent weighting strategy over time again that works in our favor. And again, I'm not afraid to not show anything. I'm not afraid to, admit where I'm wrong. I'm not afraid to admit where things are going well. And what we're doing as we keep building on these days is we're building the foundation that we need to be unshakable in this market. We're building the foundation that we need in order to make ourselves or give us more of the faith within ourselves that we can do this, that we can go ahead and we can definitely trade in this market. And as we transition throughout the different markets right here, so we talked about, corrections, which is about a 10% off the highest point in the market. We talked about bear markets. That's 20% off the highest point. I understand that right now we are in a bear market. However, the beautiful thing about the bear market is, that would be concerning if the buy direction was the only direction that we can take. What we can do as traders is we can go ahead and we can play both sides. If we notice that there's a bear market, then of course we're going to be looking for sell opportunities. If there's a bull market, then of course we're going to be looking for buy opportunities. And so no matter what direction happens, or, let's say that, and, we go from bear to bull or bull to bear, if we see that change in direction, then we know one of our core components of the strategy that we're working on is the fact that we are flexible and we are adaptable when that particular market direction changes for us. We're not stagnant. We're not stubborn. We know when to admit when we need to be wrong and get out of the trades that we're in if we're seeing that there is a direction change. And to help, and with that, the idea is to then take this number right here. So we see that the margin is 6.57 on gold, which equates to 2 open sell trades that we have currently. Our goal at the end of each and every day, and the fact when our exit strategy comes into mind, we know that we need to take the margin out of the equation. And for that comes into what we're doing as hedging. Now, hedging is is our way of protecting our account when we are looking to place If we're needing to get out of the market because we know that there's a change of direction in the market, then the idea with hedging is, now let's say, because we're in this sell trade right now, what you've been noticing is for every sell trade that has not gone our way, I have placed a equal number of buy trades that I open for sell trades. And that is the definition of hedging. And again, this particular strategy works on brokers that are outside of the United States. If you use a broker that is located within the United States region, you cannot do this strategy. There is a particular rule out there, I believe it's called FIFO, first in, first out, and that rule is applied. Now, there are a few reasons why that particular rule is applied. I believe it was more so due to the global or the financial or the Great Recession back in 2008. But because of that rule, you're not allowed to do hedging on United States brokers. So if you want to do this particular strategy, you are going to need to find a broker that is not in the United States region. Now, the purpose of hedging is, again, to place an equal number of buy trades as well as sell trades. And what that does is it takes the margin out of the equation, and it allows you to protect the equity that you have in your account. I know we haven't talked about this in a while, but again, equity is the fuel that allows us to keep fighting in the market. Now, as you can see, Platinum, I've blown that account already a couple of times, which is how come I strongly emphasize on first doing what we're doing here on a demo account. Doing it on a demo account, yes, I don't like it. I'm still mad at it because I do treat my demo accounts as if I'm trading on a real account. However, I'm also thankful that I've blown that account at the same time, because I know that, okay, this pair I cannot do this specific strategy with, so I need to go ahead and tweak it in order to make it better, because every pair is going to be different in the way that it moves. And so understanding that it's different in the way that it moves allows us to gain a little bit more of a edge as we're trading. Now, another thing that we are going to want to go ahead and take into consideration is the incremental gains on our account. Every day, again, is going to be a little different. We might get 1% win right here, 2% win, 3% win, 4% win. We might even take a loss on some days, as you've seen, that allows our account or our equity to go in the opposite direction of gaining, where instead of winning, we are losing. And we have to understand that that is a part of the game, but B, as this strategy evolves a little bit more, as we keep practicing, as we keep taking the trades, that ties in back to, the question that we need to eliminate, the question of, do I get into this trade? We need to eliminate the question of losing our trading confidence, because as long as we eliminate those questions, it allows us to still keep going. It allows us to still keep practicing the trades that we need to practice. We're able to develop more and more experience. We're able to see things in the markets. And of course, with this being recorded, this also gives, at least in my perspective, it gives me a video trading log where I can go ahead and watch these replays however often I'd like to, as often as I'd like to. And it gives me a sense of, okay, I could have done this better. I could have looked at this scenario, or my exit strategy can be tweaked in this way. And by being honest with myself, seeing where I'm at, knowing that I need to go ahead and do better in some aspects compared to other aspects, it allows me to keep myself honest as a teacher, using both the student energy and the master energy to make sure that I'm doing a great job in showing you guys how to appropriately trade the Forex market. And again, while we're in this bear market, I do want to emphasize the fact that a bear market happens less than once out of every 5 years. We're in one right now. The last time that this happened was the credit crisis, I believe back in 2013, 2014. Then we had the global financial recession. Then we had the dot-com burst, and then that's as far as I'm going to go, because I don't remember anything past 1995 because I was born in 1995. So I can't go ahead and go further back than that in terms of the memory bank, so to speak. But I know that there were other crises out there, and I know that there are other things that happened, before my time. It's also easier to keep calm when you have all this information and we're doing the things that we're doing or the things that we're practicing. Even though I understand that this is a demo account, this won't get me anywhere in terms of the real gain, by still keeping myself in the state of, okay, this is a real account. I need to still treat this like a real account. It allows me to still practice my strategy effectively. And not only that, but by myself being conditioned to take a look at the market from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, keeping myself to that same schedule each and every day, it allows myself in, a presence of mind to keep calm still, still develop that unshakable foundation that we had talked about earlier before. And it allows us to keep going with what we're doing and not have the tendency to give up. Nobody can predict consistently whether the market will rise or fall, right? And we've talked about that. We don't know whether this market is going to go into a bull market. We don't know if a bull market is ever going to turn into a bear market. And we certainly don't know if the direction it's currently in is going to continue or not. All we have is the data that's in front of us, and we can make an educated guess based on the data that we have. And if that educated guess is wrong, then we have the strategy in place to make sure that we protect ourselves in the long term. That is the goal. And that is what we're here doing each and every day, to test out that particular strategy to ensure it works in our favor. News is a fear-mongering business. Again, I'm going to repeat that again. News is a fear-mongering business. CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox Business News. I can't think off the top of my head any other resources that are out there, but Market Watch for one. Now, again, I'm not trying to discredit or cast any negative dispersions on these businesses. They make their money. They've got very trained professionals in what they're doing. And there is a legitimacy or credibility in them that I myself will not go ahead and dismantle. That is not something that I should be doing. Yet, I have to understand in my own perspective that, yeah, a lot of this news is here to make people fear. A lot of these news is to make people not really want to invest, or not even not to invest. I would say not to think clearly, or not think clearly. I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. Not to think for themselves. It allows people to just follow, okay, what is the news telling me? Oh, the news says that the sky is green, then the sky must be green. If the news says that the grass is blue, then most definitely the grass is blue, right? We follow that particular logic, and that's it. And they got all these other headlines that we don't need to get into, but again, news is a fear-mongering business, because what the news wants to do is to not let you think for yourself, but more so it wants you to just follow what these professionals are telling you and not to question. Now, I've said whether, when I made a comment before that I said the right agenda to target. Now, whether these news are wanting to target the agenda of the bigger players at play is far beyond me. I don't know that question. I don't pretend I know that question, and I'm not going to get myself in a position where I am going to entertain that kind of logic. All I will say is that news is a fear-mongering business, And the business it wants to attract is certainly, and I'm not trying to be Captain Obvious, but it is certainly making sure that the bigger players are okay. Now, let's talk about our game plan, or what has the game plan been for the last 20 days that we've been doing this? Well, the game plan is simple. We find the trend. Just write this right here. Okay. We find the trend. We got the risk. We get the risk management down. Just looking at some of these other guys. I'm going to probably do this so I can see. There we go. Okay. So we have our risk management. And now we also have entering and exiting trades. That's the game plan in a nutshell. That's the playbook. We don't have anything. We don't have any other. We don't need to have too many plays in our playbook. We don't need to be like the football, the basketball coach, where we've got all these different game plans going on. Again, nothing wrong with that. I love head coaches. Well, we have a couple of Hall of Fame coaches that are still in this in any respective sport that you want to throw out there. So I'm definitely not knocking that. But what I mean to say is, coming back into what we're doing right here, is that we don't have a very complex or so many steps game plan book, mind you. All we really have is a couple of things we look out for: trend, then we take a look at the risk management, then we take a look at entering and exiting trades, and like a coach, we make adjustments as we move forward. We make they say that you make halftime adjustments after the football half, just to bring up Sunday football yesterday, and of course we've got football today. But so we make halftime adjustments, or in this case, we make adjustments when we realize that part of our plan didn't work. Right now we're testing and we're getting an adjustment on platinum because two strategies that we tried on that particular pair did not work so far. I'm still in the trading confidence that this pair can be tackled, but we still need to go ahead and adjust what we are doing from there. And not only that, but we're also bringing in new pairs constantly in order to make sure that we are indeed educating ourselves on different opportunities that are out there in the market, so we can go ahead and we can take advantage of it. Now, another thing that's been really helping me, and I've mentioned this particular individual's name, for a while now. This is a man, Dr. Luis Ariaza. He's been a very special in terms of the psychology mindset that I bring to the table. And what he has been helping me do is understand, that I still have a lot to learn in terms of how my own mindset works. Now, while I'm confident to say that I do believe I have a great mindset when it comes to trading, I know that there are other things that I still need to learn and that I will continue to learn. Because again, how, not growing in mindset, or just not growing in general, is indeed the definition of dying. And I certainly don't want to do that. And so the way that I would go ahead and continue to grow is, to keep listening to my mentor as we do our psychology sessions. We call them our compound psychology sessions, and that takes place every week within our program here at Longevity. And it's absolutely amazing because I'm able to bring new material from that, or I plan to at some point. I don't know specifically when, but I do plan on bringing some of that material and teaching you guys how we can go ahead and continue to improve our mindsets. As much as I love to receive information that I do believe is helpful to me in my endeavors, I also understand the power from that and the responsibility to give back as much as I can to the community that is watching these videos. And with that being said, we just have to look at some of the things that have happened and be honest with ourselves that we indeed have had a couple of short-term setbacks. And these short-term setbacks shouldn't be necessarily a concern to us, or while it is concerning, we understand that the long-term vision is to go ahead and we look at those setbacks as opportunities for us to grow, opportunities for us to gain the knowledge, gain the experience, gain the lessons that we would not have otherwise gained from going through those setbacks. And then after we've understood all that, we then move forward in the direction where we not hope, but we envision that we move past those obstacles so that we can do the long-term objective, which is to become master traders. And all this, by the way, all this comes back to the fact that whether we win, lose, not do anything, not gain anything, we go up, down to Venus, to Mars, to Jupiter, and then come all the way back down to Earth. Our objective is to make sure that this guy is right here on each and every one of these accounts. Well, I need to put the trade section on right here. And well, I'm trying to circle equity right there, but it's a little bit up there, but you get the idea. The idea is to go ahead and protect our equity that we have in these accounts that we are trading on. And the reason that we go ahead and we do this specifically for just taking a look at what we have right now on our demo accounts is because we want to make sure that what we're doing on the demo account can be translated over to a real account. Now we look at the balance and we understand that the balance is more, or as we keep doing this strategy, we're going to understand that the balance will be more than what our equity is. But I go back to the car analogy. The balance itself is the gas tank, how much fuel it can actually hold. And our equity is the fuel that allows us to keep going day in, day out, trade in, trade out, and allows us to keep fighting in these markets. Equity generally rises over the long term, even though we hit a huge number of potholes along the way. So even though we've had a couple of setbacks, accounts blown, we've had a couple of losing trades. Now, ultimately, the vision or the main objective is to ensure that equity rises over the long term. Even if these first 20 days we have a few setbacks here and there, again, that gives us the ability to learn, to know what would hurt our equity in the long term. So we make then adjustments to make sure that that particular situation doesn't happen again. We think of baseball players, we think of quarterbacks, we think of basketball players. They all had to start somewhere. They were making 3-pointers the first moment that they were born. No, they had to keep practicing. They had to keep shooting. They had to keep working on what was working or what was not working. They had to eliminate that. And over time, they become the basketball players or the football players or the baseball players or the sports players that we know and love today. And if we think about it, making all these adjustments, the setbacks that we've had to have were important because now because of what we don't know, what we didn't know back then. We didn't know specifically what was going to happen when we first started this journey. We had a great mindset, and I had a experienced mindset at that particular point in time But even in a year and 11 months at this point, a year and 11 months of experience, there are still things that I still need to know. And I can be honest about that, because it's the best way that I'm going to help you guys as far as you keeping going on your own journey. Just because it took me a year and 11 months to make it to this point doesn't mean that the same person has to go through what I go through. If I can get what I've learned now, if I can condense that, and even if I can turn this year into days for you, then that's the purpose. That's the whole purpose of what I'm doing right here. And this can help you, instead of taking a year and 11 months to do what I'm doing right now. Perhaps this could take you about 10, 20, a month, 2 months. And, even a year would still be a lot further than where I was at in the year. And that is the reason for still continuing to do what I do, even if I understand that there were those setbacks along the way. And again, it's all understanding that we have what we call the inner Forex trade managing inside us. We have the knowledge about the game. We still have our inner faith and belief, and we still have our why. Now, my why is very simple, because I am the person to have the ability to generate unlimited wealth financially, socially, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And again, that all comes back down to my mindset. That all comes back down to my emotions. That all comes back down to the purpose for why I want to do this. This isn't just for me. This is for you guys. I want you to see the power in what we're doing right here. I want you to see that, I'm not some fancy schmancy trader out there. I'm just like you guys. God is not, the universe is not a respecter of people. The universe doesn't ordain me as some high angel from the heavens. Not to get too woo-woo about that. My main point is, if I can do it, you can do it. That's really the bottom line. If I can do it, you can do it. And I know that you have it inside of us, especially if you've been continuing to watch these particular videos. And so all I want to do is extract it out of you. And the way that we have to go ahead and extract this potential, this unlimited potential that each and every one of us has, is we have to understand that we need to take this particular route day by day, step by step, brick by brick, and of course, trade by trade. And if we can understand that that is the objective, that is what we need to do, and that is the best way that we can go ahead and we can move forward in the right direction, then all we need to do is adhere to that. We keep doing that. We keep moving. And it allows us to go ahead and fully walk the path of a master trader. Okay, everybody. So I wanted to go ahead and just come back to You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. We talked about this particular book over the last couple of days, over the last week, and I wanted to share more of that information with everybody here. Because again, I do believe that while it is important to talk about the market, it's also important to understand that some of the mindset and some of the inner teachings that I had to work with were based off of the books that I've read. So David Goggins' You Can't Hurt Me was the second one after Unshakable. And I want to talk about the impossible task, as it were. And this is essentially the journey that we're in, not in the sense of, oh, this is impossible, but to us, in as especially if we're all going in a mindset, the framework of a day one person, this right here can seem and sound like an impossible task. And what we want to remember is the first step on the journey toward a calloused mind is stepping outside of your comfort zone on a regular basis. So what that means to me is I've been trading and I've been recording and I've been posting these videos on YouTube, and you've seen every single trade that I've taken and every single result that has happened to the best of my ability. And so putting myself in that vulnerable state, putting myself in that state is very uncomfortable. It's stepping outside of my comfort zone and just being able to even show this and being able to also have the wherewithal or the added step of posting my final results each and every day on Facebook and Instagram. Now, I plan to use more platforms. I plan to use more ways to network with people. However, I also understand that is all, again, going back to the principle of Kaizen, that is going to be taken care of on a step-by-step basis. Now, some of the other things, and this is also something that's would be uncomfortable for me to share, is that this last weekend I went to therapy. For me, one of the things that I've noticed about myself that I wanted to fix, right? Because we all have things that we want to go ahead and improve upon ourselves. I don't believe that therapy means that you're, you're not that you're broken or something like that. That's not what going to therapy is about in my perspective. I just know that there are things within me at this moment, or at least before I went to therapy, that I felt were closed off, that I felt were that I had some blockages that I wanted to release, that I couldn't do it on my own as much as I wanted to. And going to therapy allowed me to go ahead and remove some of those blockages that came my way. And it was very enlightening. And whether or not I want to talk about that particular experience and also share what I've had to realize I needed to let go. We talk about cutting the string of I talked about cutting the string on the past on my Kaizen video. And for those that have not checked it out, I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely powerful. And as far as me wanting to talk about those experiences, that is another uncomfortable step. And I know that for every uncomfortable step that I take, I need to tread slowly. So I don't know if I want to talk about those experiences right now, but I know in my heart it's going to make me feel better if I do bring it up. And so I just have to take that that piece bit by bit, step by step. But I do want you to know that me even admitting that I went to therapy over the weekend was very uncomfortable for me. Yet I know that if I want to be more open, if I want to be more better, if I want more better is not a word, Jordan. But if I want to be more transparent, if I really want to show that, I'm okay with being open, because that's really what I also want, is to be more open and more giving, more receiving, then I understand I have to talk about these things, and I have to understand I need to do the things that make me uncomfortable to really progress and move forward. And again, that's what I all want for you. So if I'm not practicing what I'm preaching, then I'm a terrible teacher. And that's just the bottom line. And so one of the things that I normally do to help me become more open is I talked about the journal and I write down, the things that I'm grateful for. Now, I talked about a little bit before about the soulmate journey, or, one of my journals is the I am grateful, and I write down the things I'm looking for in a partner. And so what I've started to do, is to, label out all my emotions, label out all my feelings, and label out what I am. And I also have been writing down, okay, this is what I am looking for. These are the things that I want to do. And within that, there are some things in there that I know are uncomfortable for me that I, at this present moment, fear doing, or not fear doing, but just don't feel comfortable doing. But I understand that by doing them, I am moving forward. I am moving closer to attracting the partner that I want out of this particular lifetime. And bear with me as I just kind of look at all the different things. Okay, that candle just closed, or that arrow disappeared. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to place a couple of buys. Now, as you see right there, that was the demonstration of how hedging is going to work for us. And so now that we've gone ahead and we've hedged our trades, our objective at this particular point in time is to now go ahead and wait for the next trade opportunity. All right, everybody, we are back at it. We finally have our first trade for US oil. So I'm going to go ahead and place a buy right there, of course, accept the terms and conditions. But we are going to place our first trade on oil. Just taking a look at some of the other pairs that we have available to us. And as of right now, it appears that we do not have a setup for anything besides US oil. So we're going to go ahead and allow this particular trade to indeed play out. So with that being said, I just wanted to come back to a point that I was making before we had taken a break to wait for our next opportunity. And that particular point was the fact that the first step on the journey towards a callous mind, stepping outside of your comfort zone on a regular basis. And I shared how, as far as uncomfortability for me is certainly doing the trading on this particular stage, as well as talking about my recent weekend trip to a therapist. Of course, it's not comfortable for me to admit to, but I want to admit it because it'll help me grow as someone who can be transparent, open, and honest, and be able to have that communication with everybody out here. I think it's very important for me not just to connect with everybody in that level, but as a teacher, I want to help build a relationship with you. So giving a piece of myself that I may want to guard or not be open to sharing, that would be counterintuitive to how I want to go ahead and coach you guys. So, we talked about also to dig out your journal and write down all the things that you don't like to do or that make you uncomfortable. And of course, being on this stage, there are aspirations I have with being a 10, 11, 12 counting figure earner, being a global network, and being a world changing emperor. And, as much as I want to visualize all the great things, and certainly there are going to be some absolutely amazing things once that step is achieved. However, I also understand with great power comes great responsibility, and so that responsibility, while that will be something I shepherd upon my shoulders and can be seen as uncomfortable, I can focus on that and not do those and not aspire to be a world changing emperor, or I can look at that as worthy or worthwhile challenge to something that I must go ahead and strive to achieve. And then there's also other things that, you know, for the quality of life that I want, there are other things that I do journal that I may not at this particular stage be comfortable with doing, but I must in order to move forward in the right direction. Now, you're going to see right there that the up arrow did move over to the next candle right there. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that when that candle closes, in the next 10 minutes, we're going to be looking for another buy opportunity. And we could definitely see why that there is this particular buy opportunity right here. We notice that there is there was a gap up, and we can certainly see that price has been rising, creating a uptrend, creating a few support levels that we can go ahead and just mark up just at, just looking at it glance wise right here. But of course, this will come over time. This will come in terms of, noticing, hey, what are the support levels and all that. Now, we don't necessarily need to worry, and I'm just going to move that just a little bit because I will guarantee you if price comes down below that line, that arrow is going to disappear. That's something that I will be keeping track of. But more to the point, more to what I want to talk about is the fact that at the end of the day, there are going to be things, if we want the things that we desire, if we want to live the life that we truly want, we must understand that we have to grow into that person. It doesn't necessarily come to us. The things that we want aren't handed to us on a silver platter. Life does not work that way. Life is not that particularly simple. Otherwise, everybody would be getting what they want, and that's just certainly not how that works. Instead, what we must do is we must build in order to go ahead and achieve those things that we truly desire. And so understanding what uncomfortable actions we must do and continue to do them, even if it hurts, will only allow us to grow into and be comfortable with that person that we're initially uncomfortable being with. There's no need for you to find your impossible task and achieve it on the fast track, right? And that goes to what we're doing right here. We certainly didn't expect or envision to go from $100 to 1 million, 1 billion, 1 trillion just like that. No, there was going to need to be a process. There were going to be steps that need to be in place. There were going to be things that we needed to go ahead and do in order to move forward in the right direction. Now, we can't have it all at once. And that, again, that's just not how it works. What we needed to first build is that strong foundation. It comes back to the Kaizen video that I did. And again, I had mentioned it before, but if you've not checked out that Kaizen video, I would definitely recommend checking it out. And what I had talked about at that particular point was the fact that, you don't get the house, you don't get the empire, you don't get the castle without a proper foundation being in place. And so with doing the uncomfortable things that we're doing right now, we are going ahead and we're building that foundation that allows everything to come into place. This is not about changing your life instantly. It's about moving the needle bit by bit and making those changes sustainable. Think about it. We're changing our approach to trading every particular day. We're growing, we're evolving day by day, step by step, trade by trade. And while it is not doing anything in terms of we're seeing just massive rapid progress just like that, not what we are wanting, right? We're not seeing the instant gratification aspect of these changes, but we are seeing those slow, incremental, gradual changes that will become sustainable, that will become doable over time, that we will be comfortable with doing over time in order to get the results that we want as master traders. Digging down to the micro level and doing something that sucks every day. Everyone has been able to see so far that I've been winning trades, and that's great. But you've also been able to see me, as uncomfortable as it is, showing myself losing trades as well. losing trades on some videos. Now, some videos don't have those, and we can only be grateful for the fact that we have those videos that are wins, but there are videos that show off the losses and how I take the losses. And in fact, you were able to see my account blown on platinum, and admittedly, that was the second time that happened, and it certainly sucks. As a teacher, you don't want to see your students seeing that, but it must be seen in order for everyone to understand where I'm coming from. Where, I myself, just as I'm teaching, I am also learning throughout the process as well, in order for the goal to not only make myself better, but to also those who are watching my videos get better as well. We all have areas in our lives we either ignore or can improve upon, and there are plenty. I talked about my emotions, how I myself am not as open as I want to be. I do feel guarded in a sense, and I know that there are some things within my own feelings, body, mind, where I don't feel as open to telling people about what's going on in that realm specifically, because I do feel closed off. And of course, that's not an excuse. I do, or not necessarily not an excuse, but admitting the fact that there is that problem and then working towards those steps to make that problem not as prevalent, or we're working on making that better. That is what we want to go ahead and do. And I've been lucky enough to, again, go into therapy. I'll be going back to therapy next weekend to work on some of those issues. And that will help me gradually be a little bit better in my emotional mindset. It will generate emotional wealth for me into where I can go ahead and share that. And again, it's not like I'm going to open that door, where the floodgates come open. But instead, I'm going to work on that particular part of myself day by day and step by step. And that's what we only need to do. Again, we don't need to see the changes, or we don't need to see the growth. Like, we don't need, think about a tree. A tree doesn't all of a sudden become a sapling and then becomes a tree. No, it takes time for itself to build the roots, build the bark, and then there's the branches, and it all takes within a considerable amount of time. We're talking about years. Now, our process luckily doesn't have to take that much time as a tree, but if we can understand that it's a slow not a maybe not necessarily think of it as a slow process, but a steady process that is sustainable, a steady process that is manageable to the point where we can continue to grow at that particular pace. That is what's going to help us become not only a lot better in this Forex trading game, but in life as well. We often choose to focus on our strengths rather than our weaknesses, and that's fine, by the way. See, that this is where I'm going to deviate from the book just a little bit in this perspective. It is fine to focus on your strengths at first. For me, my strength is the fact that I'm able to just push the button and not think about it because I have the confirmations that I have. That's a strength for me. And that's a strength that I've now refined to a point where, okay, I understand how some of this needs to go ahead and be used properly. And there are also other strengths where I'm able to talk on the podcast, and I'm able to make a podcast work. I'm able to talk. There's not much dead air. You guys can see what I'm doing, how I'm explaining. That all works. Now, for me, some of those weaknesses, right? Those weaknesses, we can use this time to make our weaknesses our strengths. Now, that doesn't mean we have to build our weaknesses by ourselves. No, I'm also very grateful to be in a community where if I don't know something, I know somebody who can do it a lot better than me, and I can learn from him. I look at my mentors right now in trading. I know I don't know absolutely 100% everything as far as training is concerned. And that's where I can look towards my mentors, Sal Leto, Maurice Katz, Dr. Luis Ariaza, to help me with improving that weakness and turn it into a strength. I don't know everything about marketing. And I've got people who I know are marketing experts that I can go to who can show me the way, show me the path and how to best develop myself. And again, it's not a matter of we're seeing tremendous like one a day, overnight success. That's not sustainable. But instead, we're doing it in a way. Let me go ahead and just get into this buy trade for oil. Okay, we're good. So the idea is, and I'm just going to take a look at everything else, by the way. Okay, we're good there. So in a sense, or the point that I want to go ahead and make, and we can see now that that arrow just went over to the next candle. So we're going to go ahead and view to see what happens there. But my point being that we all have strengths, we all have talents that we have been ordained with or that we had initially gotten. And our objective in order to grow even further is to find out what we're not good at, not worry about developing that talent ourselves, but rather go to the people that are talented in those areas and learn from them. That would be a deeper dive into the concept of, or at least another way of looking how to turn something that somebody had to learn in decades and instead do it in today's. Doing things, even small things that make you uncomfortable, will help make you strong. See, and it's really just about trading, for instance. Oil is not a pair that I am accustomed to trading. Platinum is not a pair that I'm accustomed to trading. Heck, even gold versus euro, I wasn't accustomed to that. Silver, I wasn't accustomed to that. And really, I was only interested or focused on trading gold. However, as we've done this journey, I've been able to learn just a little bit more about how these pairs move. I've been able to learn more about what I can and can't do on these particular pairs. And in turn, that helps me grow a little bit more each day into becoming the trader that I desire. And that's where practicing all these trades will come into play, not just for myself, but for you guys as well, to be able to grab a demo account. And I've shown you how to even do this on, how to set up multiple trading platforms so you can focus on one pair at a time that doesn't necessarily overwhelm you. And by the way, if this speed isn't something that you want to do, if you're thinking to yourself, hey, this is all great, but I can't go as fast as you, that's absolutely perfect. Learn to go then at your own speed. Learn to go at a pace that, okay, so that disappeared. So we're just going to go ahead and margin that out. And again, whether we win or lose is not the point here. The point is to take the trades and learn how we can go ahead and we can do better. And that's the beautiful thing about what we've got going on right here. What this journey is teaching us is that we are taking an approach to the market and we're doing it day by day. And if we keep that approach and we keep that philosophy of doing the small things, just bit by bit, just moving that needle bit by bit to make these changes sustainable, well, that's how we go ahead and that's how we keep growing. All right, everybody. So this is going to do it for us on today's trading session. Again, just taking a look, we don't have any opportunities for gold as of right now. Silver is good. Gold versus euro is good. Platinum is good. And we have also oil is good for trading opportunities as well for today. Yet again, we are making steps. We are making progress towards what we want to go ahead and do as so we continue this journey together of becoming master traders, and further from that, master investors as well. So I wish everyone a beautiful rest of your day today. And if you do have any questions, feel free to find me at these proper channels, either Facebook, you can find me at Jordan Rosario, Instagram, you can find me at Jordan Rosario 777, or you can find me on Twitter as WC underscore Rosario here as well. So this is going to do it for day 20 of our journey. And as always, happy trading.